Hey there and welcome to Battlefield 101. This is the first in a video tips and tricks guide which is designed to help people who are new to the game or need help improving themselves at the basics. Now that we're going to run a gun control drill
right here.
to help you win those one-on-one gunfights. Now as you can see there, if you perceptive, we're on Carg Island on Battlefield 3 now. These drills are going to be designed more for Battlefield 4, but the principles remain the same, and I can't run this particular drill on Battlefield 4, which you'll see why in a second. So what I'm going to do is spawn in with the gun I want to run this drill on, which is the M416. Now there you can see my selected loadout for it. Not the same kind of loadout I would use on Battlefield 4, but we'll get into loadout and modifications on a future version of these videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spawn at the top deck and I'm going to be shooting at the wall and I'm going to be leaving bullet holes, and that's exactly what I want you to pay close attention to, is what happens when I fire this gun, the bullet spread and how the M416 behaves, because that's going to be crucial in controlling the gun as I go into gunfights. So here we go. Now as you can see, as I pause the game, the shots are pulled up and to the right. Now that is the spread of the M416. That is how it behaves. It's exactly the same on Battlefield 4. And now we're going to go into Battlefield 4 and I'll show you exactly that. This is Paracel Swarm, and this is where I found out that I could not run this drill on Battlefield 4. I took some time off, went to Battlefield 4, wanted to customize myself by running this drill, and found that I couldn't do it. So here we are on the top deck of an aircraft carrier. I'm going to be firing at the wall exactly the same way. And as you can see, the bullets are pulled up and to the right again. But when I check closer inspection, oops, no bullet holes, which means I cannot run this drill on this particular Battlefield game. So as we pause the game here, I want to show you how to control your gun to make sure that more bullets hit home at your target rather than going up and to the right or up and to the left, whatever the pull of the gun may be. Now the way to do that is, if you know your gun pulls up and to the right, is to hold your controller, your left analog stick, down and to the left. And as you can see, a much tighter spread. Nowhere near as many bullets go up, it's a much tighter spread. If that's my opponent's head or chest, that means the bullets have not gone too far astray. More bullets hitting home. And to tighten it even further, if we imagine the red first aid box is the opponent's head, it's a firing 4 or 5 round bursts, so 4 or 5 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds, all hitting home. Now if you know that each bullet does 30 damage, 4 bullets is enough to kill your opponent. If they all hit home, that means you've got an easy kill. And that's how to win gunfights in Battlefield. Make sure that all of your bullets hit home, control your gun, and you win the gunfight. Now I jump back to Battlefield 4 just to show the M416 behaving exactly the same way. As you can see, I'm aiming at the outer edge of the white paint on the 2, and as I slow it down into slow motion, you can see it's pulled up and to the right and finishes in the centre of the 2, which basically means the M416 behaves as it does in 4 as it did on Battlefield 3, which is the case for many of the guns which have carried over. Now we can expand on the burst firing technique if we're faced with multiple enemies. Not all gunfights are one-on-one, sometimes it's 2 or 3-on-1. And in that instance you need to make sure that each bullet that you fire counts, because otherwise you're going to get killed yourself. You've got 2 people shooting. So 6 or 7 bullets, as you can see, are slightly overcompensated there, and each enemy ought to be enough. All assault rifles do 30 damage per bullet, depending on where you hit, that's the base rate. So 5 rounds, 4 rounds even, ought to be enough. And as you can see, I've made it slightly harder there, aiming at the 2 poles in the top deck. And the technique remains the same. You just 6 or 7 rounds ought to be enough to win you the gunfight, because that's the key to winning the gunfight. Make sure every bullet hits home. If you miss your target, you don't win the gunfight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suicide again. I'm going to show you the pull with a different gun. We know what the M416 does. Now it's time to have a look at what the AEK-971 does, which is the Russian assault rifle. And it behaves slightly differently for the M416, and that's crucial to know because not every gun in this game works exactly the same. Each has their own pull, each has their own spread, and you need to know what gun does what before you take it in the field, so you know how to compensate for its flaws. So as we spawn back in with the AEK in hand this time, I'm going to shoot at the wall, empty the entire magazine into it as I did before with the M416, just to show what happens in comparison. If you recall, the M416 pulled up and to the right, well as you can see from the AEK, even though those M416 bullets have magically disappeared, the AEK is pulled up and to the left. Now this is important to note because Not every gun in Battlefield does exactly the same. Some pull up right, as you can see, some pull up left. Some even go a little bit of both ways, which is kind of difficult because there's no way of knowing how to compensate for it. But your burst firing technique should still serve you well, because 5 or 6 rounds hitting home, it's still the way to win gunfights. I'm not compensating for the recoil of the OEK there in any way, I'm just firing it in 6 or 7 round bursts. And all of those bullets hit those poles pretty much where I wanted them to. So what we're going to do is we're going to run one final drill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to empty my magazine with that red box, which I've managed to avoid so far, and I'm going to empty my entire clip. Now I'm going to step in closer to see what I managed to do. At 31 bullets, 4, maybe 5 bullets have hit home. If that's my opponent, there's a chance that I got the kill, but there's no way of knowing for certain. And if I didn't get the kill, then I'm pretty much dead with that reload time. So I'm going to step back and have a do-over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the burst control technique. I'm going to fire a 10-11 round burst, and as you can see from the slowdown video, every bullet hits home. Now, there's no way of knowing if my opponent's firing back in exactly the same technique if he's not gotten me, but I'm pretty certain that I've also got the kill and hopefully live to fight another day. So I hope you've learned something, I hope you put into practice these techniques, and I will see you on the next edition of Battlefield 101.